कस्तूरी तिलकं ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम् नासाग्रे वर्मौक्तिकं करतले वेणुकरे कणम् सर्वांगे हरिचंदनं सुललितं कंठे च मुक्तावली गोपास्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूरामणि वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंस चानूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. We are in Canto 9. We have completed 19 chapters in the 9th canto, and then we will have another 3 cantos to go after we complete the 9th canto, Canto 10, Canto 11, and Canto 12. So Canto 10 is going to be super exciting because it's all about Sri Krishna's childhood leelas, his other leelas, Ras Panchadhyay, and whatnot. So in the USA session, we are already into the middle section of that canto, and it is absolutely blissful. So in the 9th canto, we have read about Chandravansh and Suryavansh. We came up to the lineage of Yayati, and in that we have the personalities like King Puru, who gave his father his youth. The other sons, they mocked him. They had nothing to do with his wishes that his youth should remain, his youthfulness should remain, and the sons will obey him. Everyone said no, but Puru said yes, and we will read about him. And we will read about the story of King Dushyant and his son Bharat, and also I think Shakuntala, who is the daughter of Vishwamitraji and Menaka. So Bhagavad Katha is supposed to be the ultimate panacea for all our troubles. It is said just a little bit of association with Bhagavad Katha is the remedy for all our miseries, and it is the same philosophy as the bhakti. The depth of bhakti means we will develop interest with Bhagavad Gita, we will develop interest with Ramayana, we will develop interest with Bhagavad Katha. That is the real meaning of bhakti. And we will understand that bhakti alone is the answer to all our problems, which was very well enunciated in the first canto. When Shaunakadik Rishis asked a question to Sut Goswami, who is the guru for all these 88,000 rishis who reside in Naimisharanya. That is one conversation, Shaunakadik Rishis and Sut Goswami. So right in the beginning, Shaunakadik Rishis raise a very pertinent question that in Kali Yuga, we are in such miseries. प्रायेण अल्पायुष सभ्य कलावस्मिन् युगे जना manda sumandamatiyo mandabhagya hyupadrutaha. Shaunakadik rishis are asking, O Guruji, in Kali Yuga, our lifespan is so much reduced, only 100 years. And that 100 years also is available only to few. Prayena alpayusha sabhya kalavasmin yuge janaha. In this age of Kali, the people suffer from manda sumandamatiyo, manda, as if our intelligence has taken a low, it has diminished. We apply so little intelligence in whatever we do. We make so many mistakes. We are so careless. So manda, sumandamatiyo, and we have become lazy. Manda sumandamatiyo mandabhagya hupadruta. It appears as if we are going through a very rough phase of destiny. Our bhagya, our fortune has reduced so much. And the last word, hupadrutaha, and we are always disturbed. How many people do you meet every day who is in a great mental state and a great physical state? Either people are down with some ailments, or we are having all kinds of worries. We are having all kinds of apprehensions, fear, frustration, anger, greed. This is the nature of Kali Yuga. So, O Sut Goswami, please tell us what is the remedy. So, he says that the remedy is Savai Punsa Paro Dharmo Yatho Bhaktir Adhokchaje Ahaituki Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. Do bhakti. Answer is just so simple. Do bhakti. Devotion to God. And God means God in any form, and Guru. They together constitute the object of worship. So do bhakti, but there are three conditions of bhakti: Nishkam bhakti, Nirantar bhakti, and Ananya bhakti. So bhakti has to be exclusive, means you cannot be shifting the association. If you are worshipping your Ishtadev, don't think that the other form of God is different. If we do that, that means our bhakti is not exclusive, it is not ananya. And then nirantar, it should be continuous all the time. And nishkam, it should be without expectations. So today in USA class, I stated the same point, that bhakti should be ananya. If you have the notion that, oh, I have not yet visited this particular temple in Kerala, or this particular temple in Tamil Nadu, and we are thinking we are missing something, that means our bhakti is not ananya. We are giving more importance to one form of deity, one form of pilgrimage. That is not bhakti. Ananya bhakti means the God in the little lane of your house, lane in your locality, is the same as the Lord in Tirupati and the Lord goddess in Vaishno Devi and goddess in and gods and goddesses in any other place. That is Ananya Bhakti. And you also know that the same Lord is resident in our heart as Paramatma, and the same Lord is resident in every particle of the universe as Brahma. If we don't have that faith, then we are moving helter-skelter, and that is not Ananya Bhakti. That means we do not fulfill the first condition of bhakti. The second condition is nirantar. There should not be even one moment of disassociation. There should not be even one moment of separation, one moment of the separation from the thought that God is not there with me. If we take a break, that means we have already broken the chain. We have missed the condition. And the third is nishkam. There should not be any demand. Oh Lord, I'm doing bhakti because I want this. What is it that God does not know? He knows every desire in our heart. And He is giving a clean chit. I am there for you. I will look after you like a mother looks after the newborn. And much more because God is all knowing. The mother may not know that the child had a lot of milk and he is feeling uncomfortable, and that's why he's having a stomach pain, and that's why he's crying. The mother feels that the child needs more milk and she feeds him more milk, but that is not the case with the Lord. God is aware about all our requirements, all our wants. So what is the need in asking God, please give me this, please give me that? So these are the three conditions. I thought it will be a good reminder in our session today. So now we shall sing the bhajan, and the topics we are all very familiar. So let us sing the bhajan and then we will read the text and then we will have some interactive session. So the bhajan today is Piya Mol Amolak Lijiye. So anyone to read the English translation and then we will sing.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya. I can read the English.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. Oh, friend, obtain your priceless beloved without giving any price. This opportunity is a rare chance which you may not receive again. Believe me, I am telling the truth. If you want to become Krishna's beloved for eternity, surrender your body, mind, and soul. Offer everything to Krishna and receive the bliss of divine love, which will drench your whole being. Then drink that bliss of Krishna love forever and also distribute it to others. Says Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, O soul, make this life successful. Why do you want to enter the endless despair again?
Thank you
Radhe
so
Radhe.
much. Radhe Radhe. Piya Mol Amolak Lijiye. Very beautiful and very iconic. One of the most astounding bhajans of Sri Maharaji. Actually, every bhajan of Sri Maharaji is astounding how to compare, but still we sometimes marvel at the beauty and the lyrics and the tune and everything else. Piya mol molak लीजिए पिया पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए. अस अवसर फिर नाही मिलेंगी. अस अवसर फिर नाही मिलेगो. 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 बातन राधे बातन मोरे पति जिए पिया पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए. बातन मोरे पति जिए पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए. पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए. पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए. बनन चहत जो अमर सुहागिनी. बनन चहत जो अमर सुहागिनी बनन चाहत जो, अमर सुहागिनी बनन चाहत जो, अमर सुहागिनी तन मन राधे तन मन प्राणन दीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। दय सर बस लय प्रेम सुधारस, 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 तेहि रस राधे तेहि रस महनित बीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। पुनीत ही रस ही पिवाई और ही, पुनीत ही रस ही, पुनीत ही रस ही पिवाही और ही, पुनीत ही रस ही पिवाई और ही, पुनीत ही रस ही पिवाई और ही। आप हूँ राधे आप ही सोई रस पीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। जन्म कृपाल सफल कर लीजिए, जन्म कृपाल सफल कर लीजिए, क्यों कर राधे क्यों कर निज कर मीजिए, पिय पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। बोलिए श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, श्रीमद युगल सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री कृष्ण, जय जय श्री श्री राधे। Our koti koti pranam to the lotus feet of Sri Hari and Sri Guru. Our koti koti pranam to Swami Mukundanand Ji. My humble pranam to each one of you. And now we shall read from the chapter 20 of the 9th canto, which is about King Bhu.
Bhaiya,
Chapter 19.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya. Your voice is sometimes becoming like a little bit, I think in the device, some issues there, maybe.
Oh. So how is it now?
It's now it's good. It's good. But sometimes like
Okay,
for
okay. So,
5 or 10 seconds, it becomes like very
let us
shaky.
see. So, okay. So maybe
Okay.
the internet, let
Okay.
me just check if my internet connection is which one. So this is connected to, yeah, okay. Let us see if, please let me know if there is a problem.
Okay.
So
Sure.
we will read chapter 19, not 20. So this is about King Yayati renounces all. So this is the chapter we sent, right? I thought I sent
There
I
are two chapters,
sent
Bhaiya.
chapter 20, right? Okay, both chapter.
19
Okay,
and
okay,
20,
chapter
both. Yeah.
19 and 20.
Yeah.
Good. So just to recall, Brahmaji is born from the navel of lotus navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Brahmaji's meditation, it leads to Manas Putras, different rishis, Atri Rishi, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Vasishtha, and also Sanat Sanatan, Sanak Sanandan, Narad Ji. All these personalities are the Manas Putra. They are born from Brahmaji's mind. One of these Putras is Atri. His son is Som, the moon god. His son is Budh. His son is Pururva. And his son is Yayati. Now let us see how King Yayati renounces all his attachments. So, feeling miserable and dissatisfied from within, King Yayati once deeply contemplated and felt disgusted with himself and realized his foolishness in pursuing after material desires and approaching wife Devyani, told her an allegory of two goats, where Devyani is the she goat and he the male goat. And all that transpired right from the moment where the male goat finds that she goat in a well, the male goat excavating the well wall to rescue the she goat. Both goats getting enchanted with each other. The lustful male goat also befriending other goats. The separation of the two goats due to this. The she goat, the she goat returning to her Brahmin owner, who in a fury castrated the male goat as punishment, but again makes him whole to let the goat couple continue to enjoy their life, and the male goat still is unhappy and unsatisfied, etc. So as we know, Devbyani and Sharmistha, these are the two wives. One is the daughter of Shukracharya, another is the daughter of the Guru, Biraspati, and how the two had, like become enemies because of some misunderstanding, and then Yayati gets married to both, and despite such conditions and restrictions, how renunciation is driving Yayati. Wife Devyani, which is about the attachment between a male goat and the female goat. King Yayati now expresses to Devyani that his situation is similar to the male goat, where despite having everything at his disposal, he is still thirsty for more and
Darren,
more, even right,
I think your voice
just like
is crackling a couple of times.
oh,
So
okay. Okay, let me come a bit closer now. Is it okay now?
yeah, it is sometimes okay, and then when you start, it goes in a different.
Ah,
So yeah, let's continue. Like if it happens
okay.
again, like probably we can
Okay.
join from
King
phone also.
King Yayati now King Yayati now expresses to Devyani that his situation is similar to the male goat, where despite having everything at his disposal, he is still thirsty for more and more, just like fire burning even more brightly with every addition of fuel. The desire for material happiness is the source of unhappiness, irrespective of how old aged one is. A person who wants welfare for himself should give up all material desires as early as possible. Such a lustful person should avoid any fuel companionship in a material relations like wife is on the bottom. So, very profound point is being mentioned here about the attachment between the two genders. So, so it is happening again. So the only way is to switch over to
I
maybe
think
my iPhone.
yeah, So if we can join from phone also for voice.
Yeah, so let me put this on mute, and then I'm switching to iPhone. Just a second. So Vedic Wisdom, JK Yoke, and link. Yeah. So let me put this on mute. Can you hear now?
Yeah, if you can mute the laptop one.
Laptop, laptop I
It is
switched
fine.
off.
It is fine now. It's fine.
Oh, so but laptop video.
You can switch on the video and mute the audio. Yes. Yeah, this is
So
fine.
now the video is on.
Yes. Yes.
And the laptop video is on, and I'm on audio for the
Audio from the phone.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So this attachment between the two genders, it is the point which is being discussed here. And what I understand, when the creation began, this attachment was not there. There was no gender attachment earlier. And only when the creation was not progressing, Manuji and Satrupaji, they emerged from the body of Brahmaji, and then this biological Mathuni Shrishti began. And before that, the creation did not need a mother. It was all through the meditation, etc. And even when Manu and Shatrupa were created, they were born, the attraction was missing. Then the god of passion, Kamdev ji, he was brought into the picture. So all this has been the divine creation. So let us remember that when we read about this attachment, which is being talked about. Let's see the next slide. Let me read 3 slides and then I'll hand over. So here it says the Indriyas, which are the senses, are so powerful that even the learned and scholarly get trapped in them. Even after enjoying for 1000 years, the same desires keep sprouting in me again and again. These desires are the sole reason for transmigration of life, keeping the soul in ignorance. Hence, he concludes, now giving up all desires, I must renounce this material life and surrender my all to the Supreme Lord. Then King Yayati returns back Puru's age back to him, and getting his old age back, could easily now control his senses, renounced his all, and went to the forest, handing over the entire kingdom to his youngest son Puru to rule. Okay, there are some people waiting in the room, if you can admit them. Just like a bird leaving its nest on, could easily now control his senses and renounce his all, and went to the forest, handing over the entire kingdom to his youngest son Puru to rule, and the other 4 directions. Southeast region to Druhiyu, south to Yadu, west to Turvasu, north to Anu to rule, who would assist the younger brother Puru in ruling the entire kingdom. Despite enjoying material life for 1000 years with old age, King Yati got easily detached, just like a bird leaving its nest on growing its wings. Getting completely detached with devotion, he was then filled with knowledge of the self and attained the supreme Brahma, who is beyond the realm of Maya. Devyani first took the allegory told by her husband as a taunt, but she too later, realizing the importance of the king's words, that this world where husband, wife, and other close relations increase attachment is but temporary, wherein all meet for a small time, similar to travelers pausing and meeting for a water break on a street. She then understood this is but the Lord's Maya at play and only a dream. She too then got detached from material life and solely meditating on the Supreme Lord, attained liberation while praying. So this is the fascinating story about King Yayati. Thousands and thousands of years he has been with his wife Devyani, but he still wants the attachment to continue. And that is why, when he was cursed to become old, he has approached his sons, and the younger son has agreed to give his youthfulness to his father. But now, after thousands of years, he is returning it back. So now let's see the next slide, which let us have participants to read.
Radhe Radhe, yeah. Anyone would like to read the slides? Sheila Didi, yes, please.
Second, I can't hold on. I just need to make the slide a bit bigger. I can't see it without the glasses.
Okay, let me maybe.
It's hold on. Sukhdev ji, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe Bhaiya.
Radhe Radhe.
Sukhdev ji Maharaj says, now listen, O Parikshit, to the Puru's dynasty to which you belong, also having lineage of Brahmanas and sages. King Puru's son was Janmejay, whose son was Prachinavan, whose son was Pravera, whose son was Namasyu, whose son was Charupad, whose son was Sudyu, whose son was Bahugav, whose son was Sanyati, whose son was Hanyati, whose son was Rudrashva. Rudrashva with celestial nymph Apsara, Grutachi, Grutachi, then had 10 sons, Ruteyo, Kuksheyu, Sandilyu, Kruteyu, Jaleyu, Santateyu, Dharmenyu, Satyayeyu, Vratyeyu, Vaneyu. The eldest Rutyeyu's son was Ratnibhar, who further had 3 sons, Sumati, Dhruv, and Apartirth. Apartirth's son was Kanva, whose son was Medhatithi, whose son created a new line of Brahmins called Praskanva, etc. The eldest son of Ruteyu, Sumati, had Rebhya as his son, whose son was the well-known Dushyant. Once, whilst hunting in the forest, he came across sage Kanva's hermitage, where he saw the sage's adopted daughter Shakuntala. She was exceedingly beautiful, comparable with goddess Ram, illuminating the hermitage with her effulgence. The smitten king then gently queries her about her identity, knowing that she should belong to a Kshatriya clan, as he, being from the Puru Vansh, would not have otherwise been so drawn to her.
Right. So we hear about the adopted daughter of Kanva, Rishi, and she appeared like goddess Rama, illuminating the hermitage. So let us see how the reaction of King Puru in the next slide. Yeah.
Shall I continue, please?
Yes, please, Didi.
Yes. Shakuntala replies that she is the daughter of sage Vishwamitra Menaka, who abandoned her in the forest when the kind sage Kanva had gladly adopted her. She then welcomed the king with generous hospitality. The king was pleased that she indeed belonged to the Kushik Vansh and proposed to her. As both had fallen in love with each other, the king at the appropriate time had a Gandharva marriage with her. After their marriage, next day, King Dushyant returned back to his kingdom. Later, his wife Shakuntala delivered his son in sage Kanva's ashram, where the sage performed the Janma ceremonies for the child. As the young child grew up in the forests with the wild animals as his friend, he became very strong and brave. Then Shakuntala with her son came to King Dushyant's palace, presenting her son as an heir of the king. But the king Dushyant refused to accept them both. At that moment, then in the palace, an Akashvani was heard by all present. O king, a mother only carries the child in her womb. It is the father to whom a child really belongs to. The child belongs to a father alone and is also equal to the father. This child here is your very own. So accept your child and Shakuntala, your wife. As the son gets more progenies, the father is then saved from going to Yam's abode. So Shakuntala is right. This child is yours. The child was Bharat, a ray of Sri Hari bearing the marks of chakra, discus in his right palm, and lotus bud on the soles of his feet, whose glories as a universal monarch are sung even now, O Parikshit.
Okay, so King Dushyant's and Shakuntala's story, how the child was raised in the hermitage by sage Kanva. And then we read about this Akashvani, that, O king, a mother only carries a child in her womb. It is the father to whom a child really belongs to. So glorifying the role of the father in the Akashvani. And this child was Bharat, a ray of Sri Hari, bearing the marks of chakra, discus in his right palm and lotus bud on the soles of his feet, whose glories as a universal monarch are sung even now, O Parikshit. So let's see what happens next.
Does anyone else want to read the slides, or shall I carry on?
Maybe Vijayji, yeah.
Ananya, you want to read? Yeah, please.
King Bharat with sage Dhir Gatma performed 55 Ashwamedh yagnas on the banks of the Ganga as prescribed in the Vedas, and also another 78 on the banks of Yamuna, giving generous dakshina to 1,000 Brahmins of 13,084 cows each. Due to conducting these 133 Ashwamedh sacrifices, King Bharata could overcome the Lord's Maya and attain liberation. In a Mashnar Yagna, he donated 14 lakh elephants of excellent breed. No king has been able to perform such an exemplary feat. King Bharat, during his rule, fought with Kirats, Huns, Yavanas, Andhras, Kankas, Kanshas, Shaks, Mlekas, and also with kings who troubled the Brahmanas. King Bharat also rescued wives of the Devtas, kidnapped by the demons and kept in Rasatla. King Bharat's rule was most glorious with sufficient rains, his people happy, and he universally established rule in all the four directions for 27,000 years. The wise king, knowing material objects as temporary, later then withdrew himself from the world. The king had 3 wives, all daughters of king of Vidarbha, who deeply respected him. when he remarked their sons were not after or like him. They disowned their sons in fear of the king forsaking them. In need of an heir to his kingdom then, King Bharat then performed a Marutstoma Yagna, where the Marut gods then handed over a son named Bharadwaja to the king. Hence, Bharadwaj then continued with the lineage of King Bharat. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So King Bharat's glories are being described here, how he performed 133 Ashwamedh Yagyas, how many cows he donated to each of the Brahmins, and how he fought Kirats and Huns and Yavans and Kanks and Malekshas. All this is described, and his rule was most glorious. His people were very happy, and he established kingdoms in all four directions for 27,000 years. So, right, the king was very spiritual, and he considered the material objects as daughters, and he had 3 wives, and all daughters of king of Vidarbha. Okay, so he had married the daughters of king of Vidarbha. So let's and then there is the last point about him performing a Marutstoma Yagya. So we read about Ashwamedh Yagya, we read about Mashnar Yagya, and now we are reading at Marutstoma Yagya, where Marut gods they handed over a son named Bharadwaj to the king. So let's see what happens when Marut gods hand over the son Bharadwaj to the king.
Vijay Bhaiya, do you want to read next?
Yes.
Okay.
Brihaspati once forced himself on Mamta, wife of Uthatya, brother of Brihaspati, when she was pregnant. In his fury, Brihaspati cursed the child in Mamta's womb to be blind, who was called Dirghatma, and the seed of Brihaspati falling out from the Mamta's womb developed into a child but was abandoned by both, and so the Devtas named the child Bharadwaj. The Marus then rescued Bharadwaj and raised him. He was then handed over to King Bharat when he prayed to the Maruts for a son in the Marutsoma Yagna. Realizing this sovereignty that had carried his fame even to the guardians of the spears, imperial fortune, his authority, which was unobstructed anywhere, nay, life itself to be unreal, the aforesaid emperor withdraw himself from the world.
Right. So there is the description of the Marutstoma Yagya and also the act of Brihaspati. He has committed this act with wife of Uthatya, who is the brother of Brihaspati, and then this child Bharadwaj has been born. So there is this slok which we have added. Sarang lok palakyam aishwaryam dhirat shriyam chakram chas khalitam pranan misatyu pararamha. Now let us see if there is another slide, or maybe the story continues in the next session. Okay, so we will continue with the story in the next session. Today we learned the King Ayati, his son King Puru, and in his lineage this person called Dushyant, and how he gets married to Shakuntala, and then the birth of this personality called Bharadwaj. We will learn about it more in the next session. Let's now read the takeaways. So here there is this chaupai from Ramayana. So janai jehi देहु जनाई जानत तुम्हारी तुम्हारी होए जाई. तुमरहि कृपा तुमहि रघुनंदन, जानत भगत भगत उर चंदन। राम कृपा बिनु सुन खगराई, जानी न जाई राम प्रभुताई। राम सिया राम जय जय राम, सिया राम जय जय राम। The point here is that without the grace from the Lord, no one can understand the divine. And once the grace falls on the individual, the person also becomes godlike. Janat tumahi tumai hoye jai. Today, if we have sufficiently surrendered our mind and intellect to God, and the Lord is impressed with our surrender, then we also will become godlike. That is the essence. Let us read what is written here. No one can know God even if he endeavors to know him for innumerable lifetimes. But when God imparts his grace to a soul, he can know him and attain divine bliss for eternity. The Ramayana states the same. Let's see the next slide. It is only through the grace of God that one can be eternally free from all mental afflictions. Even the association of genuine sense is not possible without the grace of God, the Ramayana declares. So, saints association is absolutely a necessity. God's grace is absolutely a necessity. And most importantly, God's grace, because His grace only will cause the saint or the Guru to appear in our life. That is why the association with the devotees, to enhance our satsang and remain away from kusang, and then increase our devotion to one day reach the lotus feet of Hari and Guru. So what does Ramayana say about this? Binu sat sang vivek na hoi, Ram kripa binu sulabh na soi। अब मोहि भरोस हनुमंता, बिनु हरि कृपा मिलहि नहीं संता। संत विशुद्ध मिलहि पुनितेहि, राम कृपा करि चितवहि जेहि। मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी, द्रवहु सो दशरथ अजीर बिहारी। श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम। So the transition from Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran in Ramayana to Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas, talking about Bhagavad Gita in the same breath, this is a divine coincidence that has enlightened many of us in a very, very beautiful way. And we are relishing the nuggets of wisdom from Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran, Ramayana, and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In our USA class this morning, I was mentioning that whether you go into the essence of Ramayana or essence of Bhagavad Gita or essence of Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran, it is only about bhakti. We are discussing the 6th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, which is called Dhyan Yoga, the yoga of meditation. And this is such a chapter with so much knowledge about what is meditation, how we have to fix our mind to the Lord, what is work-life balance as per Shri Krishna, how we have to sit, how we have to make our asana, how we have to gaze at the point, why the mind is so fickle, how mind can be contained. All these are topics of this chapter. You know, that what is the importance of brahmacharya, etc. And in the end, how those 47 verses culminate into the essence. So the 46th verse says in this chapter, it says, tapasvi bhyo dhiko yogi ज्ञानी भ्यो matopi dhik karmischa भ्यो dhiko yogi tasmad udyogi bhavarjuna. O Arjun, know for sure that the yogi is greater than a karmi and a tapasvi and a jnani. Who is the tapasvi? He is the ascetic who performs many austerities. He leads his life in a very austere way, ascetic way. He is an ascetic tapasvi. Who is a jnani? Who is in search of knowledge. He reads and studies and does swadhyaya to feel the presence of Brahma within his surroundings. He meditates on Brahma, the impersonal form of the Lord. He is the man of knowledge. And who is the karmi? Who is performing all rituals as described in the Vedas, Karm Kandi. But we also know that to become a jnani, the minimum qualifications are such and such, which is impossible to attain in this period of time. Similarly, for karmi to perform every ritual as per Vedas is also next to impossible. Meaning thereby, bhakti is the answer. So finally, the last verse of 6th chapter in Bhagavad Gita says, Yogi sarvesh yogi naam api sarvesham mad gatenantaratmana Shraddhavan bhajteyo mam sacha mena tamo yukta tamo matah. Greater than tapasvi, greater than karmi, greater than jnani is the yogi, but the greatest yogi is the one who remembers Sri Krishna and remembers Hari Guru all the time and does bhakti with faith. He will attain whatever is there to attain. So with that, we conclude today's session. Now we hear from participants. So over to Yatin Bhaiya
Radhe
and
Radhe
Vijay Bhaiya. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, let me stop and turn the spotlight. Okay, beautiful session today. We learned about King Puru and King Yayati and how you actually combine the messages from Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Mahapuran, and in essence, actually, the message is very simple, as you already mentioned, that do bhakti. That is the essence of all of these scriptures, all of the shlokas, and everything. So it's great to like hear all these chopais and shlokas from you. Yeah, and from the message of the takeaways, actually, I remembered one short story from Maharaj's like one of the lectures that which also like reiterates this message that. I mean, like an unpad or apad gawar was like reading all the shlokas from Bhagavad Gita, and not in like the mispronouncing things, not taking the rhythm and all this, but just like reading and in his own mind and everything. And the other pupils of the guru, like they were very learned, and they are listening to this, and they were like complaining to the guru that he is not like doing this right. And so Guru calls him, and he calls him and he asks like, what were you thinking like when you were reading all these things, all the shlokas from the Gita? And he said simply that I was not thinking anything. I was just like thinking about Shri Hari, Bhagwan Krishna, and only thinking about him. So I don't know what is written, but I am thinking about him. So which is the same, and Guru says that, like, yeah, I mean, that is actually the essence. So there is no point in like reading the things and not understanding what is there. So ultimately the ultimately the point is like always meditate on Shri Hari and Supreme Lord, and do whatever you want, like do puja, do your work, do whatever, but it will be your it will do like wonders for you. Yeah, so just I just remembered from the last part. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Radhe Radhe.
Because this point has come up in Bhagavad Gita also, that the Lord classifies 4 types of devotees: Chaturvidha bhajante mam, janasu kirtno arjuna, arto artharthi jigyasu, jnani cha bhartarshava. There are jnanis, there are artharthi, there are jigyasu. One who is in search of knowledge, one who is desirous of wealth, one who is desirous of elimination of his sufferings, and the one who is inquisitive. These are the people who come to the Lord and who start the process of surrendering. But amongst them, Sri Krishna says that the one who has the knowledge, the Tattva Gyan, is the most dear to him. So the advantage of having Tattva Gyan is we are very much enchanted with Bhakti. We are convinced that Lord is our savior, Lord is everything for us. But if somebody raises some questions, the knowledge helps us to explain. So that is the importance of Tattva Gyan. So there are different contexts, and everything is very mysterious in this path of devotion. So let us hear from some of the participants if they have something to add, some feedback.
Could I say something, Vaya? The bhajan was so beautiful. The meaning and each of Maharaji's bhajans are absolutely exquisite. I have no words to explain, how he has made it so easily available to us, and we just have to try and focus on one of the pad and then understand the meaning. And then even if we can't sort of sing in tune, it doesn't matter. It's the meaning, and yours was beautifully sung, Bhaiya. Thank you so much. It's such a beautiful pad. Thank you. Radhe Radhe. And thank you for this lovely session yet again. We're so grateful. Each week you come and you spend so much time and energy in getting it all and preparing. We're eternally grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Riddhi.
राधे भैया, बहुत अच्छा सेशन था भैया का। और भैया भागवत, श्रीमद् भागवत के बारे में जो कहानियां आप बोलते हो वो तो बहुत ही अच्छा लगता ही है। उसमें इंग्लिश, हिंदी और जो संस्कृत का लैंग्वेज है, तीनों को आप इतना अच्छा से हमें ब्रेक करके बताते हैं, समझाते हैं। अगर मैं खुद शायद पढ़ी होती तो उतना समझ में भी नहीं आता और ना सारा शब्द समझ में आता, लेकिन आप सारी चीजों को इंग्लिश में बहुत ही अच्छा से एनालाइज करके बताते हैं। तो ये तो बहुत ही सुंदर कथा चल रही है पिछले साल भर से, लेकिन उससे भी अधिक मुझे आपके द्वारा रामायण का जो आप पाठ करते हैं वो और भी अच्छा लगता है। तो जस्ट मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि श्रीमद् भागवत की कहानी जब हमारी समाप्त हो जाएगी, हम लोग अभी भी इसको समझने के उतना भी जस्ट काबिल थोड़ा बहुत बने हैं, पूरी तरह तो नहीं ही हुआ है। हर एक चीज दिमाग में नहीं बैठा है, और प्रयोग में तो मैं नहीं कहूंगी कि कोई भी हम में से 100% उसको अपनी जिंदगी में मरते दम तक उतार पाएगा, लेकिन हाँ, हमारा प्रयास जारी रहेगा। लेकिन एक सुझाव था कि अगर भैया को टाइम अगर अलाउ करता हो तो इसी टाइम में हम लोग जब ये वाला पूरी कहानी अंत हो जाती है तो उसके बाद हम लोग रामायण का पाठ अगर शुरू कर पाए, जो आपके द्वारा ही और इस ग्रुप के द्वारा हो, तो बहुत अच्छा रहेगा। और फिर आज का भी जो कथा का समापन था उसमें हमें यही ज्ञान प्राप्त हुआ कि बिना हरि और बिना गुरु के कृपा के इस जगत के अस्तित्व को और भगवान की महिमा को समझना बहुत ही मुश्किल है। तो आप जैसे गुरु और महाराज जी जैसे गुरु जो कि ज्ञान के अनन्य भंडार हैं और जो स्वयं भगवान श्री कृष्ण के अवतार ही हैं शायद, तो मैं क्या बोलूं, हम लोगों का सौभाग्य है जो हम सब एक साथ कोई जर्मनी में बैठकर, कोई सिंगापुर में, कोई लंदन में, कोई इंडिया में इस ढंग से एकाकार होकर इस सुंदर कहानी को सुन रहे हैं और समझ रहे हैं। राधे राधे भैया।
राधे राधे। मैं तो एक स्टूडेंट हूँ और मैंने अपने बारे में बताया है कि मैं बहुत ही निम्न स्तर में हूँ। इवन आपसे, आप लोग में मेरे से ज्यादा अच्छे डिवोटीज हो सकते हैं। तो मेरा भी प्रयास है एज ए स्टूडेंट, श्री स्वामी मुकुंदानंद जी की कृपा है कि उन्होंने मुझे ये मौका दिया कि कुछ भागवत कथा और कुछ कहूँ। तो काफी कुछ मुझे करना है और आप लोगों का सहयोग ही सबसे बड़ा हमारे हमारे लिए फॉर्चुनेट, बहुत ही सौभाग्य की बात। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ लेट अस नाउ हैंड
Uh,
ओवर टू
Vijay Bhaiya was
श्री।
actually raised his hand, so he didn't get the time
राइट,
to say something.
या
Yeah, Bhaiya, yeah.
So first of all, apologies for the last time. Like कुछ दूसरा एक ओवरलैपिंग प्रोग्राम था, तो उसके लिए थोड़ा बीच में ये करना पड़ा. लेकिन overall, like as always, I like the format of this whole Bhagavad session, because we start with a summary of whatever we have read. Like if somebody is joining also a session for the first time, they can also recap a lot of things from this. And then we start with a very nice bhajan with a nice voice. So wo thoda, it keeps our mind engaged. And I have observed, like I, while preparing the slides, I also read the text. लेकिन उस समय वो mind में, मतलब it doesn't kind of circulate in my mind and I don't think about that. लेकिन जब ऐसा type का group में, when we start reading the text, the impact is more. So sometimes I used to think, अरे ये तो text मैंने पढ़ा हुआ है, I know it, but when I listen to the same text, or I read the same text by, or somebody reads the text in the session, uska impact is like it's so much. So I mean, I always prefer, I'll say, and I'll request all of us, like even though we know the story, like we should join this kind of environment, because all are devotional minds, and when we read and in front of all the devotees, then the impact is a lot more. And we also end with the key takeaways, and we combine all the, क्योंकि जब आप relate करते हो कोई topic को कुछ श्लोक के साथ, then वो ज्यादा एक extended version होता है वो topic को समझने के लिए. तो that उससे क्या होता है कि वो टॉपिक हम लोग को मन में रह जाता है कि हाँ ये श्लोक में हम लोग ये सुने थे, तो this is the story behind everything. So thank you so much for doing all this, experiment, and putting everything all together in a format and a sequence, just say we get all kind of advantage and benefit. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Bhaiya.
so much for your enthusiasm and how many of you have come forward, Yatin Bhaiya, yourself, and everyone else. And now even Radha Govind Geet has been converted into YouTube and it is there in the videos. So I'm so amazed to note all these. And I was just thinking while, taking a shower today, that how about converting the Bhagavad Gita poetry into music? And this idea just thrilled me when I was showering, that why not create a music? Now the poetry is ready for many chapters. 3-4 chapters of poetry is ready, both in English and Hindi. So the Hindi version, we can relook at the meter and make it, in a lyrical form, and then put music. So the entire Bhagavad Gita becomes in a poetic form. And I'm really very thrilled about it. And I'm exploring anybody with the knowledge of music and, editing of the Hindi poetry. I can straight away see Smita ji can really help in that, the proofreading and editing of the poetry. And then we can convert it into a Bhagavad Gita songbook, chapter by chapter. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great idea, Bhaiya. Great idea. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Whenever you have something for me or maybe for us to look at, or maybe try to help out in any way, we'll definitely do our
Because
best.
many of you are from IT background and you all know so much more. I have been looking for a video editor who could edit the videos I make. And if anybody knows anyone, we can even employ that person, means we can compensate that person, some young person also who knows the video editing. I'm looking for one to make some videos from Bhagavad Mahapuran and Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. So
Yeah, sure. I mean, I recently, like for last 2-3 weeks, I myself have started like video editing. So if it is simple things, then I think I can.
Yeah, simple.
I
So
myself
maybe
can do
I'll
it.
share something with you
Okay.
and just as an experiment, and let's see.
Yeah.
See, earlier I'm just narrating. I'm narrating, let's say, the summary of chapter. Let's say we complete Canto 9. So I will make the summary of Canto 9. So it will be just my narration. But along with my narration, I wish to add some reading material, some text,
Right.
some
Yeah, that I can do.
clipping, some audio. So lots of such ideas. But anyway, we can discuss this off the line.
Anytime.
So now over to Himangini Didi. She would like to say something.
Radhe Bhaiya, Radhe everyone. When it comes to doing the Ananya Bhakti, like, do we only have to watch, listen, and hear Maharaj's text and his Pracharak text, or can we look at others to help us retain the knowledge? Because my difficulty is retaining the knowledge. The Bhakti gist is there. The essence of Sri Maharaj's philosophy is there to help retain the knowledge. Yeah. I sometimes wander onto YouTube channels, and I have found one particular YouTube channel very interesting and is helping me to enhance the knowledge which I shared with Manishji today. So is that wrong?
So Maharaji has written in Sadhana Karu Pyare, Granth Parhu Jani, I forget the exact lines, is one of the don't. That don't read too many Granth, don't watch too many lectures, stick to the philosophy of your Guru. This is a very clear warning. And ideally, we should all be doing that, including me. But sometimes I also deviate. Sometimes I'm looking for material, which is to enhance some additional information about Bhagavad Mahapuran. So it also depends on the intention. So if your intention is that you read something from Sri Maharaji and one more YouTube video helped you to understand that better, then we can approach Maharaji and say, Maharaji, I'm doing this, but I'm not deviating from your path, your philosophy. So we have to stick to our Guru's philosophy, because different Gurus have different views. They are all great personalities. They are all Mahapurus. They are all Guru, but the philosophy differs. So it is a topic in itself. We should discuss this at length, but it is not wrong, so to say, because intention is not negative. But the caution from the Guru is, if we do that, chances are we will deviate from our path, and that is why Sri Maharaji has forbidden. I'll collect some material, including that Doha, and maybe I'll take it up in the next session. Thank you.